Hey Bobcats, I hope you're doing well. Today I am going to show you how to solve for a variable if you're given an equation that has two variables in it. This is going to come in handy when you're solving systems of linear equations by substitution. So let's go ahead. It's going to be quick. I just have a few examples. I'm going to give you an opportunity to practice, and then you'll be able to apply these skills later on in this lesson. All right, so let's take an equation that's in standard form. And then I'm going to show you how to solve for x, and I'm going to show you how to solve for y. So let's say that you want to solve for x. X is right here. So we're going to pretend like these aren't variables here. We're going to solve it just like we would a two-step equation. I can actually put my balance line on there just like we did when we solved multi-step equations. And since I want this variable all by itself, first I'm going to get rid of this whole thing. I'm going to subtract 6y from both sides. So what I'm left with over here is 5x is equal to 30 minus 6y. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 5. And I get x is equal to, now you distribute this just like you would if the parentheses were in the front and you were multiplying by 5. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. 6 divided by 5, we can leave this as a fraction, is 6/5 y. So we haven't changed the value at all of these two equations. They are equivalent to each other, but this equation just happens to be solved for x. Okay. You might be in a situation where you need to solve for y. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so in this case, we're going to solve for y right here. So since we want to get y all by itself on this equal sign, we're going to start by getting rid of this whole thing. So to make this go away, I'm going to subtract 5x, because 5x minus 5x is 0. And I'm going to do that to both sides. Now what I'm left with is 6y is equal to 30 minus 5x. Now I only have one thing left happening to my y, and it's being multiplied by 6. The inverse operation for multiplying by 6 is dividing by 6. So I'm going to do that to both sides. 6 divided by 6 is just 1, so you have y. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 5 divided by 6, we'll leave this as a fraction. 5/6 x. Okay, so what I've done is I've solved for x here, I've solved for y here. You're using the same skills that we've been using all along for solving multi-step equations. We're just doing it now with some variables involved. I'm going to do one more example, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to practice this. So let me do this one. Okay, first I'm going to solve for x, and then I'm going to solve for y, and just so we can get some practice. Okay, since my variable that I'm solving for is here, I want to get rid of this whole thing. Well, to get rid of negative 2y, I'm going to add 2y, because negative 2y plus 2y is 0. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So these cancel out, and then I have 3x is equal to 7 plus 2y. Now I'm not done yet. I still have a 3 with my x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3 to get rid of that. And now I just have x, and then this is going to be 7/3, and then 2 divided by 3 is 2/3 y. And there you have it. It's not pretty, but it is solved for x, and that's what is necessary sometimes. Let's go ahead and solve for y now. Typically, you're not going to have to solve for both x and y in the same problem. This is just practice. Okay, so here's the variable I'm trying to solve for. So I'm going to start by getting rid of this whole chunk. 3x, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. 3x minus 3x is 0, so I'm left with negative 2y. Then I have 7 minus 3x. Now I can divide both sides by -2. And you're going to get y is equal to, this is going to be 7/2, so -7/2. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, so this is going to be plus 3/2 x. Okay? All right, I'm going to give you an opportunity to practice now. Okay, I'll just have you solve for x here. You don't need to also solve for y. And then for this one, I'll have you solve for y. Okay, go ahead and pause your video. Take a few minutes, see if you can solve for x on this problem and solve for y on this problem. And then go ahead and start your video again and we'll see how you did. All right, let's go over these. We're solving for x. This one we're solving for y. All right, so since I'm solving for x, I want to move this whole thing over to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4y from both sides. You get -5x is equal to 20 minus 4y. Divide both sides by -5. And then you get x is equal to -4. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, and that's going to be 4/5 y. Okay. The next one, I'm solving for y. So I'm going to move this whole chunk over first. So minus 1/3 x minus 1/3 x. So I'm left with 2y is equal to 12 minus 1/3 x. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 1/3 divided by 2 is going to be 1/6 x. All right, let me know if you have any questions about this. I'll also post some extra resources, some videos and things like that in the bottom right box on our slide for the day, just in case you need a little extra practice. Have a great day, Bobcats.